So third lab is all about how you can access the resources, Azure resources, how you can create resources, how you can delete resources, how you can modify the resources. Third lab is all about that. So using portal first and the foremost thing that you can use this portal, Azure portal, portal.azure.com. You can sign in with your account and you can create, delete, update. You can do anything with the resources. First thing is this. Second one was how to interact with Azure. Okay. How to interact with Azure. First one is portal, Azure portal, using Azure portal. Now this is UI based. Second one was PowerShell. PowerShell. And third one was Azure CLI. Azure CLI. So these are the three things using which you can interact with Azure. Apart from that, how you can provision the infrastructure. So for provisioning the infrastructure, you have ARM templates and you have bicep templates. This is for provisioning the infrastructure. Means somewhat like you can call it as an IAC, infrastructure as code. You will write down it as code and the infrastructure will get provisioned either via portal, either via PowerShell, either via CLI.
Can we use Terraform here?
Definitely. Yes.
This is the area where we can use Terraform, right?
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll be seeing how to use Terraform in the DevOps. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. How to use Terraform with Azure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see, since we are into the admin part only, so we need to see how to manage the resources. So let's see how to create the resources.
Abhishek, please guide me if I'm doing this wrong or right. Whatever currently you're teaching,
Mhm.
I found a YouTube video where I am going through them with AWS in that videos. Is that a good option, or will that confuse me?
No, it will not confuse. Actually, see, service names are different.
Correct.
Like in both the platforms, some or the other service are doing the same things. There they have a storage as S3. Here you have a storage account. That
Hmm.
is also, there is also a blob storage. Here is also a blob storage. So ultimately the names are different, settings are different,
But
but
the base
I will
concepts
I
are
will
same.
ask you to study one at a time.
Okay, sure. I
Okay.
just wanted to confirm that. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So I'll ask
Thank
you
you.
to study one at a time only.
Okay,
Otherwise, like it will be a mashup. Okay.
correct. Thank you.
Okay. So here we'll be managing Azure resources using Azure Resource Manager templates. Let's create a resource group here. Go to resource group or disk. Search for a storage disk. Okay. Disk type of storage. It's a block type of storage, block storage. Try to create a disk here. Provide the resource group. You can create a new one. So You can do the naming convention accordingly as we are doing AZ104 lab. So AZ104 hyphen resource group 3. Click on OK. You can provide a disk name AZ104 hyphen disk 1. Region you can take any as per your will. Okay. Availability zones. I don't need any availability as of now. So no infrastructure redundancy required. Source type none. Now from here you can change the size of the disk. Okay. So click on size. From here you can, from this drop down, you can choose the storage type, and from this you can choose the size. So for example, currently the size is something 1024 and that too is an SSD. Okay. I don't want SSD. I want hard disk drive, HDD, standard HDD. Okay. So I can choose here. I only want 32 GB. So I can choose and I click on OK. So size has been changed from here. Ignore all the other options as of now. Okay, networking and all accessible from all the public networks. Disable public, generally in organizations, it will be like disable the public access and enable the private access. So you will be using through virtual networks, mostly through private access. Advanced, next, review and create. So this will create a disk for us actually. Now this disk can be attached to any VM. You can use the disk by attaching it to any VM. Now you can see validation is passed. So you can click on create. Once you click on create, there will be a notification tab over here submitting the deployment. So from any means you are creating any resource, maybe it from portal, Azure CLI, PowerShell, anywhere. The deployment will be submitted to the ARM template only. Okay, not ARM template, ARM. Azure Resource Manager is the one who is responsible for managing the deployments. So here when you see this deployment, whatever has been done here, you can see a template over here. You can see a template. This is the template. This is deployment template. Okay. So now you can see some code over here, some JSON code. That means whatever the service or the resource you have deployed, that is expressed in the form of template here. Now, when we talk of a template, definitely it is like it is under infrastructure as a code, and you're writing down the infrastructure as a code. Now, it can be any, it can be YAML, it can be JSON, okay, it can be. So here what they did, since it is a kind of a descriptive, you can say syntax, it is a kind of a descriptive syntax. So always there are two ways to create and provision the resources. One is imperative way, another one is descriptive way. Okay. So imperative means directly, for example, I go to the PowerShell or I go to the portal, directly click on resource, create the resource. Or if I go to the PowerShell, by using some command, I can directly create any resource. That is imperative way. Okay. Using commands or using UI, you create it. Okay. This one is a descriptive way where you are writing down some description of your resources, what parameters you want, what variables you want, what resource you want to create. This is a descriptive way of writing down the infrastructure. That is known as infrastructure as a code, or here you can term as an ARM template. So I'll go to the resource here. Once I go to the resource, now you can see the options in this disk. Now, whether using this disk, what you can do, you can attach this disk to a VM. You can create a snapshot. You can attach the disk to the VM. While creating a VM, you can use this disk. Okay, as a VM, you can provision the VM using this disk. Now, since as of now, this disk does not have any, you can say, operating system or anything. So you can see, you cannot create any VM image or anything from here. These are grayed out as of now, since this is not any disk which is containing the OS image. Okay. Now coming to the point, what we need to discuss here in this disk is, we'll go to the automation since we are learning ARM templates today. Okay. So not only disk, be it any resource, be it a virtual machine, be it a storage account, be it a disk, be it any storage. There will be an automation section in any resource. You will find there is an automation section. So in this automation section, there will be three things you will find. First thing is this CLI or PS. What is this CLI PS? CLI means command line interface. PS means PowerShell. So what they are doing here in the automation section, actually they are providing you some tips on how you can control this resource, create or delete this resource using CLI commands, how you can do it using the PowerShell commands. So they are displaying it here itself. Okay. So you can simply use these commands here in the CLI or these commands here in the PowerShell to manage this resource, manage this disk. Okay. Second thing is it is showing you the chart for the task, how the automation task has been created or is created this disk or something. Okay. As of now, no automation task has been attached which has created this disk. Okay. This disk is manually created by us. So you will not find any kind of task over here. Third option is export the template. Now this template we are talking about today. That is the what infrastructure as a code, or you can say ARM template. So this template basically contains of two files. One is a template file, one is a parameter file. Remember, you have to never write down the ARM template from the basic. Okay, you don't have to write it down. Whatever is there, for example, today I'm creating one virtual machine. What I did, I downloaded the automation template. Tomorrow, I may get a request for creating 50 virtual machines. I will not go and manually create 50 virtual machines from the portal. I'll make some small changes in my template, some changes in my template. I'll add some parameters, I'll add some variables, and I can deploy my template again using those newly added variables and resources. So that will create 50 virtual machines for me. Okay. So you have to only add some parameters. That's it to make changes. Rest, everything will be same. Everything will be same. So if I show you, this is actually this is Azure editor. Let me go to somewhere in Visual Studio. Okay. Visual Studio Code. Let me open that. I don't want this project. Let me delete this.
Abhishek, these templates are written by whom?
No, they are auto-generated actually. So when the resources are created in the portal, they are auto-generated. Okay. Definitely
Okay,
some libraries may be working in the backend, which might have created by the developers, Azure developers.
mhm,
Maybe. Okay.
okay.
But
Yes, yes.
when you create a resource, these templates are automatically generated. So see,
Okay,
these templates can be of 100 lines, 200 lines, 300 lines, 500 lines. So to manage the resources, definitely we will not sit and write down all those 100 lines, 200 lines. Okay. So
Hmm.
what we will do, for example, today I will save this template for the disk. So what you can do is you can directly download the template from here. Once you export the template, go to the exported template, extract here. Once it is extracted, you can see there is a two files are there, template.json and parameter.json. Exactly the same you are seeing up here, template.json and parameters.json. Now, what are these two files? So these two files are required when you want to provision the infrastructure using ARM templates. So now if I open the Visual Studio Code here and show you, open a file from the downloads, from the templates. So this is template.json. This is template.json. So in the template.json, you might be seeing one schema. Okay, this is the schema. And this is the version of that schema. You don't have to worry about schema and the version of that schema. Actually, what is happening here? Azure has automatically created some schema over there at the back end. Okay, some kind of schema they have created already. So as per that schema, what they did, they defined that schema and they have kept it somewhere. Suppose they have kept it into this place, whatever you are seeing, this HTTP schema management. They have this repository. Okay. They have this repository. They have this repository with them and they have kept the schema over there. Now, this is a basic schema. What does it say? It defines actually. This schema defines what it defines. It is having for every resources in Azure, it has a defined parameter section with it. It has a defined variable section with it, and it has a defined resource section for it. Resource section. Now, for example, I want to create a disk. I want to create a disk here. In the resources, I want to create a disk. So if I want to create a disk, what they are asking us? So they are asking us that this is the schema. Inside this schema reads two things. What it reads? So this schema reads only parameter and template file. So this schema reads two files. And it will always read only two files. Whether you want to create 100 of resources, it will only read these two files. This is very basic of ARM template. Okay. So it will only read two files. One is a parameter file and another one is a template file. Template file. So whatever you need to provide about this resource, for example, I want to create a disk. So whatever I want or I know about the disk which I want to create, I should provide that information in the template file either and in the parameter file. Once I provide all the information about the disk, I can give this, I can deploy this. Okay, I can deploy this two file. So these two files will go and get deployed into where? Into that schema, into that repository where this schema is present. So that schema will read out the files and it will fit the requirements one by one into that schema. Do you understand what I'm trying to say,
Yes, sir.
everyone? Ha. So
Yes,
there is a defined schema and it will try to fit all the information from the template file and the parameter file into that schema. And once everything is satisfied, everything is satisfied means there should be no validation errors into this file. Okay, so everything is satisfied. What it will do? It will go and deploy that particular resource. So now even tens of resource, hundred of resource can be parallelly deployed using template file and parameter file. The same thing you cannot do with the portal because in portal you will be doing everything using manually using your clicks, your hands. So things will be done one by one. But here this template is directly attached to the ARM. ARM means Azure Resource Manager, which is responsible for the deployment of resources in Azure. So since this template is directly connected to ARM, so as soon as we provide the template which is specific to the ARM, Azure Resource Manager. So templates which are specific to the ARM means templates which are written in the form of ARM, those are known as ARM templates. So there is a schema defined. So as soon as we fill that schema into the template file and parameter file, and we deploy those two files into the repository where the schema is present, it takes those files, it read out those files, it matches those files with that particular schema, fits all the things from the template to the schema and deploys. That's it. Nothing else. But this method is way more faster than deploying anything from the portal because portal is front end. Whatever we are deploying using the template files and parameter files in the ARM template, directly we are deploying into the backend. Okay. So that's why this is faster than the front end because front end takes some time to analyze the request. Then it will need an API, which will take those requests to the ARM and then ARM will again do the deployment. Here we are directly giving the information to the ARM. Okay.
Abhishek, one question here.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a difference between the parameters and the variables
Mm-hmm.
from the JSON file, will that obviously it will not deploy it, but
Mm-hmm.
will the ARM will give us a notification to the user that there is something wrong? You go, please check it.
Correct, correct. Error will be given, thrown out.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I want to create a disk now, so now I'll show you the disk part here. Now schema will be always the same. Schema and content version is coming from the same place. So this will never change until and unless Azure will change the content version. Okay. So this is something that needs to be changed by Azure. Otherwise, if this is not changed, it will be same again and again. How to find if this is changed or not? Very simple. uh, Go to Azure here, search for deploy a custom template. Okay, deploy a custom template. Click on that. When it comes deploy a custom template, search for build your own template. When you go to search for build your own template, it will provide you that particular schema, which is currently running in Azure. Okay. So what you need to add here, you need to just add here the parameters and you just need to add here the resource. That's it. Only two things. So now the syntax of this template file is just like this. Now here comes an interview question. I can ask you write down the syntax of ARM template. Okay. By writing down the syntax of ARM template, anyone can consider, okay, you know how to write down the ARM templates. That's it. Okay, no one will ask you write down an ARM template for a virtual machine because that will be 150, 200 lines of code. No one will ask you that. Okay, so people will ask you might this thing. That's it, syntax. So in the syntax, there comes in schema. This is what the syntax of an ARM template. So this is the schema, the content version, the parameters, and the resources. You can write down only these things. That's it. Only the schema should be the current one. Okay. Don't use any old schema. So as of now, the schema which is being used is intact from the 1st of April 2019, what they deployed earlier. Okay. So that is the same schema they are using. Until and unless they do not perform any major changes in their schema, okay, they do not change this. Okay, this is as it is. So till date, they have not made any major changes. Whatever the resources are running are same. They are only making featural changes in the resources. Some features might be up and down, but creation should be the same. Creation is not different, so hence they have not changed the schema as of now. Only using this schema. Content version is 1.0.0. Next time, if they made some major changes, the content should be some 1.1.0 or something, or 1.1 point something, or 2.000, something like that. Okay, they can change. So always, if you want to verify whether it has been changed or not, go to custom deployment, deploy a custom template, select build your own template, and they will provide you the schema here. This is the schema. Okay. Or you can consider this as a syntax for the ARM template. So you can add the resource. Now, if you don't want to write down, you can also add the resource like here. What do you want to add? I want to add a storage account. What is the name of the storage account? I want to keep the storage account name as AZ104, my new storage account. I need to keep this name. Click on OK. See, template is ready for the storage account. You can make some changes over here as well. Okay, in the template. You need to add another resource. I'll add another resource. Okay, I want to add another resource. So you can add another resource as well. Okay. I want to add a virtual machine. Okay. I want to add a virtual network or a virtual machine. Windows virtual machine, suppose. Give the name, for example, my VM. Storage account. Okay. This is the select an existing template or you need to create a new one. Okay. So existing template in which you have created the storage account. Okay. Provide the virtual network in which virtual network you want to create. Okay. So you can provide the virtual network. This may not be having here VNet1. See what it did in the resources section only, apart from the storage account, it added the resources for the VM as well. See, you can add as many number of resources as you want directly from here and it will create a template. Suppose there is a requirement that you have to create 10 resources and these are the resources with these parameters. Just open the template, add those resources from here, and what you can do, you can add tens of resources. You can save the template and deploy. So this will be a one-time activity. This will be a one-time activity. Next time, from the next time, you have the file with you. Save, do the versioning of the file. Keep the file with the GitHub or anywhere.
Means we need to add the second resource from here only. Like we need to add
In this
storage
file, you
account.
can add tens of resources at once. Okay.
Okay.
See, I added first the storage account, then I added the virtual machine.
Yes.
Third resource, I can add SQL Server in the same template, existing template only.
Mhm.
And I can save and I can deploy it once. So if I save this, so this will be a template here. And what I can do, I can review and create. So what will happen? This custom template will get deployed and it will create the storage account and VM at the same time. Both the things. This is what template is actually. So for the first time, you have to create and you have to save it somewhere. You need to version it. Okay, you need to keep it with your GitHub or Azure repos or anywhere where you want to keep it. One time activity. From the next time you again get the same request, just make some changes in the parameters. For example, last time you were asked to create one virtual machine and one storage account. Next time you might be asked to create two virtual machines and two storage accounts. You might be asked to create 10 virtual machines. You just need to provide a parameter. Okay. What parameter? Count parameter. Okay. So there is a count parameter. You just need to provide a count parameter. That's it. Nothing else.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how custom deployment works. Now we were looking into the disk one. Okay, this is the disk one. So I was telling that this will be the same. Only the changes you will make will be in the parameter section. Now, what will parameter section contain? What will parameter section contain? So you can see it is having the disk name. Okay. So what disk name we have given to that? Since we created the disk using the portal, and then we downloaded the template for that disk. So that's why you see this all template here. So what was the name given to the disk when we created from the portal? So it was disk 1. Now in this template, tomorrow if someone asks me to create another disk with the name disk 2, I can provide the disk name in the parameter section and I can redeploy this. I can deploy this template. So a disk 2 will be created. Similarly, disk 3, 4, tens of disks can be created at once. That's what. Okay. Then comes the variable changes. If you want to make some changes in the variable section. Okay. So variable resources, there might be some variable resources which can be changed in the resources. So that we'll see in the coming section one by one. So from here itself, when we will be executing next labs, we will be doing it from the templates itself. Okay. So don't worry about that. Okay. We'll do all the labs using the templates only. Variable section, you can mention the variable section. Then comes the resources. So you need to define the resources, what resources you need to create. For example, we are creating disk here. So we mentioned all the aspects of the disk, what we need over here. This is all mentioned. So when you read out one by one and side by side, if you open the Azure portal here and you open the disk, okay, you open the disk, you will get all the options over here, or all the options you will get whatever is being asked to you in the ARM template. Open the disk, check this section over here. Okay, what is being asked in the template and check this section. So from the start, what is the type of resource you are creating? So we are creating a resource, compute type of resource. And what is the name of the resource? That is disk. So Microsoft.compute/disk. Okay, that is the type of the resource. Now these types are defined, already defined in the Azure. You just need to, for example, if I want to create a virtual machine, so it will be like Microsoft.compute/virtual machines, like this. Okay. If you want to create an app service, so it will be like Microsoft.web/server farm. Okay. These are the types. API version, already these are all decided by Azure itself. Okay. Already. You don't have to worry about it. You will only provide the name here. Okay. So where name. So what we are calling in the name, so we are calling the parameters. So now you understand, if you want to create same type of resource with the different name, you just need to edit the parameter file. That's it. You don't have to edit the template file. Since template is already reading from the parameter section. So just make changes where? In the parameter file. So parameters. So it is reading name from the parameter section. Then location where you want to create in the East US. SKU type. What is SKU? Storage keeping unit. Okay. So SKU type. What is the SKU type? So we are creating a standard disk. Suppose this would be a premium disk. You want to create a premium disk. Then instead of standard, it should be premium underscore LRS or premium. It should be like, see, it is giving you options. Premium LRS, ZRS, VRS, V2 LRS. It is giving you options. Okay. So that's why this is the integrated development environment. Okay. Visual Studio. So it is giving you options over here. You don't have to worry about. Okay. Tier, we are using standard tier. Properties, what properties? Create option here. So we are creating an empty disk. We are not creating this disk from any image or something. Whatever disk we are creating is empty. So that's why create option here is empty. Disk size in GB, 32 GB. Disk IOPS read write. How much is the IOPS speed? Input output per second. Read write. That is 500 IOPS. Disk Mbps read write 60 Mbps. Okay. MB per second. What is encryption? Encryption at rest with the platform key. So we have chosen platform key to encrypt our disk. So there are two types of keys, platform managed key and customer managed key. So what is this one? Encryption at rest with platform. Another one would be encryption at rest with customer. Okay. Then network policy. At the time of creation of the disk, we have chosen allow all. Okay. Public network access enabled. Data access auth mode is none. Now, whatever option we have given in this template file, I would go here and again, I'll try to check a disk. Okay. I'll click on create. Whether same option has been asked here as well or not. So there is a resource group. Okay. There is a disk name. So disk name template is reading from where? From the parameter. Okay. Region means location. Again, you can see here it is reading location. Then comes the SKU. This is the size, storage keeping unit, SKU. Okay. You can change the size from here. You can change the storage type. So you can see here standard or premium or whatever you want, ultra. Okay. You can choose. Then comes the property. What is the create option? And then comes the disk size in GB. Okay. So you can see whatever you are choosing from here, 32 GB or whatever. Okay. So that you can choose from here. Next is encryption. Okay, what encryption type? So here it is a platform managed key or customer managed key. So what it is saying here, encryption at rest with type what? Platform managed key. Or it can be encryption at rest with customer managed key or customer key. Okay. So customer key is bring in by the customer. Platform managed key is bring in by Azure. Okay. Network access policy, you go to the networks here. Enable public access from all networks. So what it is showing here, network policy, allow all. Public network access enabled. Next, go to advanced. No authentication enabled. Data authentication mode. We have not checked in. So what it is showing, none. Okay. Tags, you want to create tags. You can add one section for the tags over here. Okay. No issues. You can add tags. Since we have not given any tags, that's why no section for the tags added over there. And then review and create. Okay. So We have not filled the whole information in the basics. That's why it is showing validation field. Okay. So this is the template. This is how an ARM template is being created. Okay. You don't have to create this ARM template manually writing down one by one lines. So don't worry who don't know writing the code and all. Okay. Just go to deploy a custom template for the first time activity. So see, according to the nature of the work you are doing, in some time you would be knowing that what are the templates you are requiring in day-to-day work. So for the one time, what you can do, you can go custom deployment, select build your own template, add the resources in the template, download the template, keep it with you in some versioning tool, for example, GitHub or anywhere, and use them. That's it. One time activity. Make some small configurational changes and use it again. That's it. Okay. So those who become perfect in writing those, because see, it's a kind of thing you can be perfect in writing down or making some changes in between what is needed. Maybe you work for 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, then you can be perfect. Okay. If you do it frequently, you can be perfect in 1 month as well. Okay. 1 month, 2 months. Okay. So don't worry. You don't have to write down this. Okay. You can create directly from here. So for learning purpose, there are some quick start templates as well. Quick start means you can select what template you want here. Okay. So Azure is having some quick start template in their repositories. Deployment, management group deployment, application workloads, modules. Okay. So anything you can select from the template here. Quick start template. Okay. And you can check what is coming in there. As of now, I think there are no templates here. But if you go back, you close this. Common templates. Create a Linux virtual machine. Create a Windows virtual machine. Create a web app. Create this. Create a landing zone. Okay. You choose them. Provide some here. VM simple Linux template. Edit the template. Check. See. 12 parameters, 13 variables, 6 resources. Now again, by creating a VM, what they are providing? They are using this bicep template. Then parameter section, what they are using? VM name, simple Linux VM. So this is parameter section. Okay, make sure in parameter section they are using name, they are using username, they are using authentication type, they are using password or key. Now you can see at the time of giving the password, they are not giving it like a username. So in the username they have written default value. In the password you won't find any value. Why? Because they are using type of secure string. What is the secure string? At the time of deployment, it will ask you the password. So you can put in the password at that particular time and deploy it. So that is a secure string. It will not store here in the code. Okay. That is a recommendation. So instead of simple string, they have used what? Secure string. Then what? DNS name. So DNS label. Then version of Ubuntu. So Ubuntu to 20.04. That is the version. Location. Resource group dot location. So see, it is reading out from where? Whatever resource group you created, in that resource group location only I'll create the VM. That is called resource group. and dot location, reading out the resource group location. VM size D2S V3, virtual network, subnet. So here you can find that section is ended over here. Okay. So what were the things which were in the parameters? These are the 12 things which are in the parameters. Starting from here, go down. 1, 2, third is authentication. Fourth is password. Fifth is DNS. Sixth is version. Seventh is location. Eighth is VM size. Ninth is virtual network name, because virtual network is also required while creating a VM. Okay. So whatever the resources which will be required while creating a VM will come over here. Virtual network name, subnet name, network security group name, security type name, and that's it. These are the 12 parameters for this VM. Now come to variables. What are variables? Variables are the things which changes with time. Okay. For example, here we are providing the image. Now, changes in the image are not in our hand. Okay. They are not fixed. We are just using the offer which is provided by the Ubuntu image. So this image, whatever is the latest version of this image we have used. So version is latest here. So that's why we keep these things like image of what image you will be using to create your virtual machine. Okay. So these things will keep where in the variable section. What else? Public address. Okay. IP address. Okay. These things you will be checking in with the variable section. Then comes the resources. Now, the number of resources which you are creating will come over here. So with the virtual machine, what is created? First thing, you have to create a network. So this is the network. VNet, subnet, everything. Okay. Then what you need to create in the network? Network security group that is created. Here, second thing is security group. Okay, this is also created. Okay. Third thing, here virtual network with the subnet, it is created. Fourth thing, IP address, public IP address created. Fifth thing, compute, virtual machines created. And then comes the OS profile here. So whatever you will be choosing in the OS while creating the virtual machine, everything will be here. So you can go to section. This is NIC section. This is NSG section. This is VNet section. This is public IP section. This is VM name parameter section. Okay. And whatever the extension properties you have provided in the extension, those. So this is how you can create a template. And for later on use, you can save it. Okay. So now we were talking about disk here, simple disk. So this is the template we downloaded. Now let's complete the lab quickly. Okay. I think I've explained almost everything about the ARM template. Okay. Just go with the lab and let's deploy now. Okay.
So Abhishek, here in ARM template, does it create manages any state file? How it manages on the on the Terraform?
Definitely. Definitely. We'll see while learning the Terraform. Okay. Don't worry about that. So wherever we save the template, simply go to deploy a custom template. Click on build your own template. Use load file option. Load file. So we have saved the file over here, template.json. Click on open. So this will take the disk. You need to change the disk name. So you need to change the disk name. Sorry. So let's make the changes, whatever required to deploy another disk using this template is. So instead of this disk name, copy this, press Ctrl H to replace. So instead of this, I'll write it to disk underscore name, replace all. So it will be replaced at two places, here and here. And another one is, instead of disk 1, I'm replacing it with disk 2. Control H. Instead of 1 is 2. Replace all. Okay. So it is replaced here. So this is the standard disk. Now instead of standard, we can choose premium as well. Okay. So you can make changes here as well. Instead of standard, you can choose premium. Save this file. Edit the parameters file. Load the parameters file as well. Okay. Save it. So you have to make the changes in the parameter file as well. So what we did here, okay, it has taken the changes already. Okay, automatically it took the changes. So if you added the template file, it will take changes in the parameter file as well. You don't have to edit it separately. Resource group, you can choose the one which we created, RG3. Region is East US. Disk name is disk 2. Can move to next.
Abhishek, there was a notification in the purple at the backside.
Notification for what? Previous section here. You are in mute. Can you come again?
Yeah, over here. New
Mhm.
deployment structure lets you manage the life cycle of your deployment right now.
Okay, okay, okay. This may be some new preview feature might be from Azure. Okay, that's why they are giving in this notice actually. So notification.
Okay.
I have also not seen that. Let me check that. I'll update you on this. Okay, this might be
Okay.
some new notification from Azure. As of now, it may seem like simple. We are creating a disk, but as we go ahead with some big labs in admin, we'll be making use of ARM templates only for doing the deployment. So there you will come to understand things. Same thing you can deploy with PowerShell as well. Okay. So now if you go back, go to the resource, a second disk is created now. Disk 2 in the same resource group. Now same thing you can go and choose the PowerShell to deploy or CLI to deploy. Okay. So if you want to deploy with PowerShell, you can do two things. First of the thing, you can set up Azure module in your PowerShell. So if you go and search for the PowerShell in your laptop, click on PowerShell, open PowerShell over here. So I'll provide you set of steps to set up PowerShell in your local, how you can work using PowerShell from your local directly. There are two things. First is you can set up a PowerShell in your local and you can work with Azure portal from your local directly. Second thing, if you don't want to set up PowerShell here, you can see this cloud shell. Okay. This shell is directly with the browser. Okay. In your Azure portal itself. So you don't have to set anything over here. You don't have to set anything. Okay. So this is your cloud shell. I'll switch to PowerShell here. Direct click in and switch to PowerShell. This is your PowerShell. You'll directly search for get hyphen AZ subscription. See, directly get hyphen AZ resource group. You'll get the resource group. Okay. Get hyphen AZ resource in the resource group RG3. So we created two disks. So it will display the disk 1 and disk 2 in the resource group 3. So here you don't have to set up anything directly. But when it comes to local PowerShell, since it is running in your local Windows system or maybe Linux system or maybe Mac. Okay. So by default, you cannot run get hyphen AZ subscription over here. Okay. Since PowerShell, okay, see what it is saying, unable to acquire the tenant from the token. It is giving me error for the token. Why? Because I have already an installed module for my AZ account here, az.account. Okay. Otherwise, if you will try in your system, it will not read the command. It will give you error in red. So why it is reading the command in my system? Because already I have set the modules. Okay. Already I have set the modules, AZ modules. Okay. Where are these AZ modules come from? From the repository. From which repository? From PowerShell repository. So if you go to PowerShell over here, PowerShell gallery, PS gallery. Okay. PS gallery. That is PowerShell gallery. So in the PowerShell gallery, you will find out the modules here. What modules? AZ modules. You can see AZ accounts. Okay, you can go see there will be lot of modules. Install module. It is giving you everything. Install hyphen module hyphen name AZ dot account. Okay. So current version is going 4.0.1, which is updated a day ago, just a day ago. Okay. Latest version of easy account. And inside this easy account, what you will find all the commands. Okay. So you need to install that easy package. Now, how to install? Do not worry about that. I have a file. I'll upload that file. Okay. So I think PowerShell.
So all the command lines are case sensitive.
Yes, case sensitive. Okay. Mm.
Abhishek, what are application you will be using for the
Application means,
like Ubuntu or GitHub?
see, most of the applications will be Azure only. Okay, in Azure only. Okay, but some of the important, like GitHub, we will be using. Yes, GitHub is we'll be using. Those are tools, you can say, not applications, mostly tools.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be using those. Mm, Where I kept it, PowerShell. Okay, I have a PowerShell guide too. Okay, for the commands. If you need to run commands, I have PowerShell guide too. But I'm just searching for that notepad where I've kept that to set up the PowerShell. Maybe your admin. PowerShell. No issues. I'll search and I'll upload over there. Maybe I've kept somewhere else. I'm not getting it. Actually, there were set of commands which can be run one by one to set up PowerShell. I created that, but somehow I'm not getting it right now. Maybe I'll get it here. I might have uploaded somewhere else in. Hmm. Start with PowerShell. Let me download this. This will the downloads itself. So if you see this, start with PowerShell, kindly follow the below steps. So download latest version of PowerShell, either zip package, extract and use, or download the MSI installer. Okay. So this is the, uh, you can say the link from where you can download. Okay. The MSI package. So you can go to that link, download the latest one, because by default, there will not be the latest one. Okay. This is 7.3. Okay. So download the file, download for the MSI installer. Okay. Once you download this, then follow this. Okay. Open PowerShell from Windows menu, run as administrator, and check the version of the PowerShell. Okay, check the version. So PS version table. It will give you the version. If it is not something 7.3 or something, then you need to upgrade it. Okay. Dollar PS version table dot PS version. See, it is major is 5, minor is 1. Even I have not updated. Okay, because mostly what I do when it is required, I run the PowerShell commands from the browser itself. That's why. Okay, so this is the one. We can change the version. Then what are the modules? So you can get the module, get module, name of the module. So get hyphen module. What module you want? So give the name of the module. I want easy. Okay, easy module. Okay, list available. Python list. This is what happens when you not update the version in the local. Okay. Same thing if I would run over here, it will work in the PowerShell.
So Abhishek, in organization, which is recommended?
Which is recommended means using from local or from browser.
Yes, Abhishek.
You as it's your will. Okay, nothing is recommended. Both work same. Just you need to set up something in your local. That's it. Before working. Otherwise, it will not work. Okay, you need to download the modules first. So that's what I make. I made this. So you can install get module, get execution policy list. Just run these set of commands, and you will be setting up in your local. That's it. Nothing else. Okay, set the execution policy, install the module. If already installed, you can update the module. Okay, like this. Update module like this. You can run here. See why it is not doing it? Because I have logged in with the normal user. I have to open this using the what? Administrator. Okay, then only it will run. Using normal user, it will not run. So you can update. I'll upload this. Just read one by one and perform these steps. You will be able to run it. And then you can use this connect account. So once you use this connect account, you will be able to connect to PowerShell. Sorry, Azure.
Abhishek, one question. Just like in GitHub, in AWS,
Mm-hmm.
in our office laptops, we cannot install. So there is an option within GitHub. There is something called as create resources.
Mm-hmm.
They will get us 60-hour free space
Mm-hmm.
to install this ARM or CLI in AWS, and then we can perform this.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other option kind of that in Azure?
I didn't get you. Can you come again?
Yeah. So basically, in office laptops, we were not allowed to install anything. For these
Okay.
kind of people or people who do not have resources
Mm-hmm.
in AWS, there is an option within GitHub. We can create this resource wherein we can install for certain time. The AWS can be installed, and then we can also install the
Means
Terraforms, and then we can
GitHub is
check.
providing you some kind of agent or machine or something.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
For a 60 hours free of cost. Do we
Mm-hmm.
have something similar like that in Azure? Because yesterday I was watching that video.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly showed us as a demo
Mm-hmm.
and he specifically was telling for people who use office laptops or who do not have their own personal laptops,
Mm-hmm.
there is another option which you can do. This is what he showed. I
Okay.
shall forward that video. Probably that's
Just forward it to me. Actually, I need to get the context why it is being used, for what purpose. So if
sure.
that
I will
purpose is
forward
clear,
that
I
video.
can suggest you in Azure as well. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I will forward it right away.
So
Probably in next
now,
class we can.
since this is my local, if you run get easy subscription after connecting the account, it will show you the subscription. It will show you the resource group as well. Get hyphen AZ resource group. So just you need to see it's in your own will. It's your own will. Okay. Whether you have to run it from the local. Some people they find it running from the local, they find it best. Some people they find it running from the, if they don't want to set up local PowerShell, they find it best to run over here. So get hyphen module, if you run here, hyphen name AZ and list available. See, what is the version here? 12.4. And that is to core PowerShell version, desktop version. Okay, DESK. Name is Azure. This module is already installed over here. So what it does actually, browser one, it automatically updates with the latest one. You don't have to install anything over here. Everything will be latest. You search for Terraform hyphen version, that will be latest here. Okay. If you search for Terraform hyphen V 1.9.5. Okay. If you find Git, okay. Sorry, I've given wrong option maybe. Hmm. Or any other thing, whatever. Already this will be synced up with everything. Browser PowerShell. Or if you don't want to write PowerShell commands, switch to Bash and use Linux commands. If you are good in Linux, you can use Linux command as well. The thing is that here you need to use Azure CLI commands. So general Azure CLI commands are like AZ, group, show, like this. So for example, I'll use this one, AZ group show, and where I want to see in the location West US or maybe East US. So instead of West US, I use East US, for example, East US. Or I'll use Central India. Central India. No resources in the Central India. East US. See, resources are in the East US here. So commands will be changed. I'll share you commands as well over the group. Okay. PowerShell commands as well and CLI commands as well. Okay. You have to make the choice what you want to go with. Okay. Either you can use local. There is one more thing. If you don't want to run CLI commands in here in browser, simply you can download Azure CLI. Download Azure CLI. Sorry. Install the CLI for Windows. Just download the MSI installer. This is the one, MSI installer for 64-bit. Open your command prompt, and just type AZ. once you set up. See, Azure CLI is in your, it will get installed in your laptop, okay, directly. Now you can directly run CLI commands over here. But again, remember, here you don't have to connect the Azure account in the browser one. But here you have to connect the Azure account. Here you have to connect the Azure account first, and then you can run the commands. So local, only one disadvantage, install, connect account, and then run the commands. Here the advantage is directly run the commands. Two things. Okay. Uh, let's uh, let's stop the session here. We'll continue. Okay, for completing the lab in the next class. Okay. I hope things are clear for today. Okay.
Yes, they're very clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So please make sure you are practicing a lot, because that will only help you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I have sent you the video. Please
Sure,
watch it
sure.
from 19 minutes and let